So, Smarty Pants, are you ready for some detective work? Great, because I happen to have some right here. Gee, what a coincidence.
Yeah.
Let's go! You drop a bowling ball in a bucket of water which is 45 degrees Fahrenheit. And you also drop another ball of the same weight, mass, and size in a bucket at 30 degrees Fahrenheit. If you do it at the same time, which ball will hit the bottom of the bucket first? The ball in the bucket of the 45-degree water will hit the bottom of the bucket later than the other ball. Did you think that the water had to be frozen at 30 degrees Fahrenheit? But the riddle says nothing about that bucket having anything in it. Therefore, there is no water or ice to slow the ball down. Sam is talking to his lawyer in jail. They're very upset because the judge has refused to grant bail. At the end of the conversation, Sam is allowed to leave the jail. Why? Sam is visiting his lawyer, who was arrested and jailed. Time to look for another lawyer. Mary is the owner of a bag store. One day, a young woman came in. She wanted to buy a bag. After choosing the one she liked, she asked Mary how much it was. The price was $30. The girl asked Mary to sell it for $20, and the store owner agreed. The girl gave her $50. Mary didn't have any change, so she went to her friend who worked nearby to change the bill. The friend gave Mary two $20 bills and one $10 bill. The woman gave the customer $30 and put the remaining $20 in the cash register. Just a few minutes after the buyer left, Mary's friend rushed into the store. "The bill you gave me is fake. I need my money back." Mary gave her friend her own $50. How much money did the store owner lose in total? For one thing, Mary sold the bag at a $10 discount, so she already lost this money. Then she gave the girl $30 in change, and she had to return $50 to her friend for the fake bill. One $20 bill was the one her friend had given her, so she had to add $30 of her own. In total, she lost $70. Wow, next time use a credit card, huh? Private Detective Deborah was doing some shopping at the mall. Suddenly, she heard people arguing. The woman went there and saw a stressed shop assistant and several people crowding it. The poor man had found a smartphone and made an announcement, and now several people claimed it was their phone. One man said the phone must have slipped out of his bag. A young woman said the gadget belonged to her, and an older woman shouted it was her husband's device. That's when the phone rang. For some reason, the shop assistant handed it to Deborah. The woman glanced at the screen and immediately gave the phone to the man. How did she understand whose device it was? Deborah saw the word wife written on the screen. Jenny heard about a private party which was supposed to be VIP. Celebrities and influencers were going to attend it. And guess what? Thanks to one of her friends, Jenny managed to get on the guest list.
Yay!
Before the party, the girl bought a new dress and a pretty and expensive purse. At the party, Jenny got acquainted with a very nice young man called David. They were talking when someone pushed Jenny. She didn't fall over only thanks to David's fast reaction, but she noticed that her purse was gone.
No.
David rushed to catch the thief. He spotted a guy hanging around the entrance. "What are you doing here?" The man answered that he was looking for an ATM. He needed cash to buy a ticket for the party. David told the man to hand Jenny's purse over or he would call the police. How did he understand the man was the thief? This is an A-list event. You can't just buy a ticket to get there. This man is lying. The faster you run, the harder it is to catch this thing. What is it? It's your breath. Brandon's wife told him to cook several eggs, but the man had to boil them for exactly 2 minutes. She left her husband 3 hourglass timers for 3, 4, and 5 minutes. How can the man boil the eggs for exactly 2 minutes? Brandon waited until the water started to boil. Then he turned over the 3 and 5 minute timers. When the 3-minute timer ran out, he dropped the eggs into the water. And when the 5-minute timer ran out, he had his perfectly boiled eggs. Sometimes I am loved, usually by the young. Other times I am dreaded, mostly by the old ones. I'm hard to remember, also hard to forget. And yet, if you do, you'll make someone upset. I occur every day. Everyone has to face me. Even if you don't want it to happen, embrace me. What am I? A birthday. It's thin, but when water splashes it, none seeps through. When hit, it changes color. It covers an incredibly complex thing, yet it's very easy to flex. What is it? It's human skin. Look at these people. Can you figure out which one is a smuggler? It's the woman on the left. The lady on this right is really pregnant. She's just wearing a wig. But the shape of the belly of the woman on the left is weird, to say the least. One of these people stole some Pringles. Can you figure out who it was? It's this young lady. Look at her ponytail. A very strange shape. Doesn't it resemble a pack of Pringles? Now, I've got this group of people for you. One of them is a vampire. Can you figure out who it is? It's this guy sitting on the right. Have you noticed that he has no shadow? A farmer is traveling with a fox, a sheep, and a small sack of hay. He comes to a river. There's a small boat near the shore. The boat can only support the farmer and one other animal or item. If the farmer leaves the fox alone with the sheep, the fox will eat the sheep. And if the farmer leaves the sheep alone with the hay, the sheep will eat the hay. How can the farmer get all three, as well as himself, safely across the river? The farmer should take the sheep across the river. Then he should paddle back. Then he will take the fox across the river. After that, the farmer should take the sheep back to the first side of the river. Then the farmer should leave the sheep on the first side of the river and take the hay to the other side, because it's safe to leave the hay with the fox. The farmer will then return to the first side of the river and pick up the sheep. The morning after a heavy snowfall, Justin went outside and saw there was twice as much snow on the top of his garage as there was on his neighbor's. Still, Justin didn't get surprised or upset. He just smiled and continued walking. Why? Justin's garage is twice as big as his neighbor's. No wonder it has twice as much snow. Andrew and Gary are twins. They were born just 1 minute apart, and Andrew is the elder of the two. But for some mysterious reason, they celebrate their birthdays 2 days apart once every several years. How is this possible? Andrew was born at 11:59 p.m. on February 28th. It wasn't a leap year, so Gary, who appeared just 1 minute later, was already born on March 1st. That's why during leap years, they have 2 days between their birthdays. Look at these mirrors and say which one is magical. It's the one the girl in the middle is holding. Apparently, it helped her to get rid of her mole. 2 men are playing chess. They've already played 5 games, and each man has won 3 of them. How is it possible? The men are playing with different opponents, not with each other.
Jake is a very rich guy. He lives in a mansion with a gardener, a cook, and a housemaid. One day he goes on a business trip and returns 2 days later. Oh no! Someone put a huge coffee stain on his exclusive white sofa. Jake gets furious and interrogates his staff. The housemaid says, "Yesterday I had a day off, so I spent it outside the mansion. As for today, I cleaned the living room first, and then I focused on the bathrooms, and the sofa was fine." The gardener says,
"Yesterday, new plants were delivered. I was very busy planting 6 palm trees in front of the house, so I didn't have the chance to chill indoors."
And the cook says, "I was trying new recipes in the kitchen and filming vlogs for my subscribers. I never hang out in your living room, sir." Who's lying? It's the gardener. There's no palms in front of Jake's mansion. Jake goes hiking alone. He's in the middle of a dark forest. Suddenly, a witch appears in front of him. She casts a spell and teleports Jake to her cabin. The witch offers him a deal.
"The only chance to escape is to drink one of my 3 potions. If you guess it right, you're free to go. If not, you'll be my prisoner forever."
Can you figure out which potion Jake should drink? Take a closer look at the emojis that imply the potion ingredients. If we write out the first letters of each ingredient, we'll get sleep, escape, and blind. So, Jake should pick the second potion. Jake drinks the potion and teleports to a desert island. There's only 1 coconut tree and 1 banana tree, but Jake can only eat from one of them. Which tree should he choose? The coconut tree. It can provide both food and water, while the banana tree only provides food. Thankfully, Jake sees a boat passing by. It's filled with people. Jake rubs his eyes and takes a look again. The boat is still there, but Jake doesn't see a single person on it. Why? Because all the people are married. The boat takes Jake to the nearest town. There are 4 people standing on the pier. One of them is a cop working undercover. Can you guess who? It's this guy in a sports suit. There are cuffs sticking out of his pocket. Jake is walking down a black street. He's wearing all black. Black shoes, socks, trousers, coat, gloves, and balaclava. All the street lamps are off. A black car is coming towards Jake, and its headlights are turned off. How did the driver see Jake? It's daytime. Jake is starving, so he decides to go check out the local bakery and purchase some snacks. The price for 1 cherry donut is 50 cents, and 1 apple donut costs $2. They also have lemon donuts. The price is $1.50 per item. Can you calculate the price for one blueberry donut? To solve this mystery, we should remember the color sequence in the rainbow. The price increases by 50 cents from red to purple. So the price for one purple donut is $3.50. Jake's mother wants him to get married as soon as possible. That's why she arranges a blind date for him. The lady's name is Karen. Today, they're meeting for lunch. This is the first time Jake and Karen are going to meet in person, and they haven't seen any pictures of each other. Karen texts Jake, "I'll wear gold hoop earrings." Jake arrives at the restaurant. There are 3 ladies. All of them are wearing gold hoops. Can you help Jake find his Karen? Let's take a look at the second table. There are 2 dinner servings and cutlery for 2 people. This lady is already with someone. The third lady has already drunk half of her milkshake, and she's busy working on her laptop. She's not here for a date, so Karen is the first lady. The next morning, Jake arrives at his office. There's a huge gift box on his desk. The sender is unknown. Only 3 people are in the office today: Mia, Prudence, and Paul. Jake questions them. Mia says, "I was preparing and printing some documents for you. We have a great business deal to sign." Paul says, "My alarm didn't work today. I overslept and just arrived. I don't know who brought the gift." And Prudence says, "I don't know who did it. I was trying to fix the printer, but it won't work. Someone broke it yesterday." Who's lying? Mia printed the documents for Jake this morning, and she's holding them in her hands. Therefore, Prudence is lying. Jake takes 2 pictures of his office room. Take your time and try to spot 10 differences between them. Ready to see the answer? Here they are. He's in the middle of a creepy abandoned village in the woods. It starts raining heavily. Jake finds an old cabin and hides inside it. Jake wanders around for a while and finds 3 doors leading outside. But each path hides some dangers. There's a huge fire behind the first door. There are wild animals waiting behind the second door. And the third passage is filled with toxic gas. Humans can't survive after breathing it in. Can you help Jake choose the right door? The first one. It's been raining heavily in the woods, and the door's leading outside the house, so the fire was gone a long time ago. Jake checks the maps. Karen's place is nearby, so he decides to walk. On the way, he finds 3 bushes with different herbs. Yay! I can collect some of them to put in tea! But only one of these herbs is actually safe. Can you guess which one? The first herb caused a rash on Jake's hand, and the third one looks pretty stinky. So he should take the second one. Finally, Jake arrives at Karen's house. She shows him around. Can you spot 3 emojis hidden in her living room? Here they are. Then, Jake goes to the bathroom to wash his hands. Can you find 3 hidden emojis here? Hello! And finally, Jake lands in the kitchen. There are 3 emojis here. Can you see them? There you go. Karen is cooking dinner. She asks Jake to go to the storage room to get one last ingredient. But instead of saying directly, she gives him this weird shopping list. Can you help Jake figure out the ingredient? The number implies the letter we should pick out of each word. The encrypted word is pepper. And now let's take a look at the color of the note. It's written with a red marker. Therefore, Jake needs to get a red pepper. Karen picks some flowers in her garden and puts them in a vase on her table. Can you find the correct shadow? The third one. What about this necklace? Can you spot the correct shadow? The first one is the perfect match. Let's see if you can find a shadow that belongs to this book. The fourth option is correct. Jake turns on the TV news. Airport security guards got an urgent report. One of the passengers came back to the country with a stolen ancient treasure from Paris. The guards initiated a check. The mysterious passenger blended into the crowd, but they managed to find 4 suspects. Jake spots the thief right away. What about you? All we know about the thief is that he arrived from Paris. Therefore, the stickers on the suitcase can be helpful. Several guys have stickers with Paris, but take a look at this guy's suitcase. The Parisian sticker is on top of the others, so he's the thief.
It's the finale of the Big Money Buzz Show, and Natalie is faced with a difficult task. There are 3 fish bowls, each of them containing a different amount of gold bars inside. If she manages to put her hand inside one of the bowls and take it out, she can keep the gold bar. The first bowl has scalding hot water inside of it. The second is filled with flesh-burning acid. And the last bowl has a couple of venomous scorpions walking around. Which bowl should she choose? Natalie should just wait until the water cools down and grab the gold bar from the first bowl. Bob was blindfolded and put into a shaky van. When he woke up, he was alone in a dark, empty room. There was nobody there, but there were 3 envelopes on the floor. A post-it on top of the envelope said, "Each envelope contains a red capsule and 2 statements. In one of these envelopes, both statements are false. In another envelope, both statements are true. You have to choose the correct capsule to get out of this alive." He opened the first envelope, saw a capsule and the messages: 1. Don't take this pill. 2. Take the pill from the second envelope. On the second envelope, the note said: 1. Don't take the pill from the first envelope. 2. Take the pill from the third envelope. And the last envelope said: 1. Don't take this pill. 2. Take the pill from the first envelope. Well, which capsule should Bob take? He should trust the pill from the third envelope. Let's see why. The first message of the first envelope is true, while the second is false. Both messages from the second envelope are true. This leaves us with 2 false statements on the third envelope. Timothy and Diana were strolling in a magic forest together when they ran into an evil witch. The witch captured Diana and took her to a haunted castle. Timothy managed to find the hidden castle and watched as the witch turned Diana into a frog. When the witch left the room, he snuck inside to turn Diana back into human form. He found a spell book that could help him and found out the recipe for the magic potion he had to make. He recognized most of the ingredients, but the last 2 were encrypted. Take a look at the witch's ingredient cabinet and try to help Timothy discover the last 2 ingredients he needs to make the magic potion. You got it! That's exactly what he needs. The day started busy in Fabertown. The police station got a call saying an undercover vampire was passing as a teacher at Middle Moon Elementary School. The officer went down there to check and found 3 possible suspects. Take a look at them and see if you can guess who the vampire is. It's the one in the middle. She's wearing sunglasses inside the cafeteria and drinking a very suspicious red drink. Yikes! Eric was coming home from a night out. As he reached the gate of his apartment, he heard the sound of someone bawling. He looked around, but no one was there. That's when he noticed something that scared him, and he shouted, "Ghosts! Ghosts! Someone help me!" Look at the image. Can you identify what Eric saw that scared him so much? The gate lamp isn't attached to the pole. It's floating in the air and somehow still shining bright. Well, this isn't right. Then Eric called his best friend, who also happened to be a renowned ghost hunter. That's convenient. His buddy Ray arrives, and his ghost watch immediately starts beeping. It leads them to the building's pool. At the pool, they see a girl swimming. Eric shouts, "Hey, why are you swimming in the pool so late at night? Here, let me help you get out." But Ray stops him, saying, "Don't do that." Why did Ray do it? Look at the pool. The girl is swimming, but there is no movement in the water. She must be a ghost. On the other side of town, Bobby is also ghost hunting. He called his friend Susan to visit the town's old creepy hotel and bust some ghosts. As they arrive, they find clear signs of ghost activity. It looked like that ghost had a sense of humor, though, and wanted to play hide and seek with them. The ghost led Bobby and Susan into a room with 4 doors. Each door had an inscription on it with clues to where the ghost might be hiding. The sign on door A says, "It's behind B or C." The sign behind door B says, "It's behind A or D." Door C says, "It's in here." And door D claims, "The ghost isn't here." Bobby and Susan looked very confused until a note appeared next to their feet saying, "3 of the inscriptions are false and 1 is true." Can you guess which door led to the ghost? Let's see how this would work. If the ghost was behind door A, then both B and D would be true. But if it was behind door B, then both A and D would be true. If the ghost was behind door C, then A, C, and D are all true. But if the ghost was behind door D, then the statements on all the other doors were false, except for that on door B. This matched the rules, so it was behind door D. To get into the best Halloween party in town, Becky had to solve a difficult riddle. There were 2 hourglasses in front of her. One hourglass measures 7 minutes, and the other measures 4 minutes. She needed to time 9 minutes using both hourglasses. How could she do it? First, she turned both hourglasses at the same time. By the time the 4-minute glass finished, there were still 3 minutes left on the other one. She flipped the 4-minute glass again. By the time the 7-minute glass was empty, there was 1 minute left on the other glass. And by the time the 4-minute glass emptied again, there was 1 minute's worth of sand in the bottom half of the 7-minute timer. She flipped it over again, so there's 1 minute's worth of sand on the top of the glass. And when the 7-minute timer finally emptied again, 9 minutes elapsed in total. Whew, that took some work. Jessica was on a trip to the desert when she got separated from her group. She noticed a sandstorm was coming her way. She had 3 options for what to do. She could try to run away from the sandstorm, she could hide behind a big rock, or she could try hiding in the desert's dry riverbed. Which one is Jessica's best option? Well, the first option is a terrible idea, as she will never run faster than a sandstorm. The riverbed is also not such a good idea, as it's too low and the sand from the storm can fill the entire hole in no time. Her best option would be to hide behind a big rock. After the storm passed, Jessica used the radio to send an SOS signal to the guide. The guide told her to sit tight. A rescue team would shortly be on its way to help her. In a few hours, 3 rescue teams came to help Jessica. She got suspicious and asked all the teams who had sent them. The first team said that they had heard the news on the radio that a woman was lost in the desert and came quickly to aid her. The second team said that the hotel she was staying in called the police for help. The last team said they received a radio call saying a woman was in distress and quickly came to help. Which rescue team should she trust? The last team. Jessica sent a message to her guide as soon as the storm was over, remember?
A villain lured Detective Johnson into a trap. He told the detective that if he wanted to survive, he needed to crack a riddle. Then he put a jug of juice and an empty glass in front of him. There was nothing else on the table. Johnson needed to fill the glass to the brim, but after that, the jug had to contain the same amount of juice as it did at the beginning. Can you help the detective figure out how to do it? It's very simple. The detective should pour the drink into the glass and then place it inside the jug. An elderly lady was walking in the park when a stranger grabbed her bag and hurried away. The woman told the police the man was wearing a coat, a hat, and glasses. He also had a mustache. The police officers ran in the direction the lady showed them. Some distance away, they found the hat, coat, and glasses lying on the ground. They realized that the criminal could be hiding in the nearby cafe. Look at these 4 men. All of them are cafe visitors. You need to understand who took the bag from the elderly woman. It can't be the man in a hat or the one wearing a coat. The criminal also got rid of his glasses, so it can't be the man in the corner. It means that the man wanted by the police is the one on the right. He has a small wound on his upper lip. He must have gotten rid of his fake mustache in a hurry. Builders were mixing sand, gravel, and cement for the foundation of a house. Suddenly, one of the workers noticed a small bird hopping along the top of the foundation wall. At one point, the bird misjudged the distance and fell down one of the holes between the blocks. No one could reach it since the bird was too far down. The hole was also too small for it to fly out of. Someone suggested using 2 sticks to try to pull the bird out, but this idea was rejected because it could easily injure the fragile bird. What would be the easiest way to get the bird out of the hole without hurting it? Since the workers have plenty of sand at hand, they can pour a little at a time into the hole. The bird would constantly keep shifting its position and get closer to the surface along with the rising sand. Now this riddle will require some thinking and analytical skills. You might even need to get a pen and a slip of paper. Listen attentively. 2 criminals were caught stealing. Detective Brightbrain suspects that the criminals are in cahoots. But this is just speculation, and there's no proof. The detective offers each of the criminals a deal to rat on his comrade and get freedom for this. but the other criminal will be sentenced to 10 years in prison. If the criminal refuses to testify, he'll spend 6 months in prison for refusing to cooperate with the investigation. If both testify against each other, both will receive 2 years in prison. The criminals are isolated from each other and cannot communicate. It's in everyone's interest to reduce the time spent behind bars as much as possible. What decision should each criminal make? Make a deal with the investigation or remain silent? Since they can't communicate with each other, the criminals have 4 possibilities. A is silent and B is silent. Equals each gets 6 months in prison. A is silent and B testifies. B is released and A is sentenced to 10 years. A testifies and B is silent equals A is released and B is sentenced to 10 years. A testifies and B testifies equals both get imprisoned for 2 years. If the suspects are not allowed to communicate, then they do not know what the other will choose. In this situation, if A remains silent, then, depending on B's decision, he will be sentenced to 10 years or 6 months. If A testifies against B, A will receive 2 years in prison or will be released. So it will be more profitable for each of the suspects to testify against each other so as not to be sentenced to 10 years. But if A and B had the opportunity to communicate, then of course, the best solution for each of them would be to refuse to make a deal with the investigation and get only 6 months in prison. On the first day of school, someone pierced the wheels of the principal's car. When a detective arrived, she immediately suspected that the culprit was not one of the students, but an adult, since all the children were in the classroom. So, she questioned 4 teachers, asking each of them what they had been doing at 8 a.m. Mr. Walter said that he'd been on his way to school, running late. Mrs. Thomas answered that she had been checking her students' exam papers. Mr. Benjamin said that he'd been reading a newspaper. And Mrs. Calvin explained that she had been in her office with her husband, who had come to visit her. The detective immediately realized who had punctured the tires on the principal's car. Who was it? It was Mrs. Thomas.
Oh, no.
She couldn't be checking exam papers on the first day of school. Mary Levis was a famous detective. Once, she was gathering all available information on a tricky case. A well-known banker disappeared from his office. The detective had 5 suspects: Alice, Jack, Stephen, Nicholas, and Maria. The thing is, on the banker's table, Mary found a diary with several entries. The latest entry said, "At 10 o'clock, I have a meeting with Maria. The next day, at 1 o'clock, I have to meet with Nicholas. And on June 3rd, I have an $11 million deal with Stephen. It's important not to mix it up." After carefully examining the evidence, the detective realized who was behind the banker's disappearance. Who was it? It was Jack. All the numbers in the last entry, 10, 1, 3, and 11, are the order of the letters in the alphabet. By matching the numbers with letters, you can get the name. There was a theft in a multi-story building. The victim was sure she would receive a large payment from the insurance company. As for the robber, she claimed he had jumped out of the window and disappeared. The detective went to the first floor, opened a closed window, and threw a coin out of it. Then he went up to the second floor and did the same. He continued to climb floor after floor, opening windows and throwing coins, until he reached the last one. Then he returned and said that the victim was lying. How did he understand it? The detective had to open every window on every floor. If the robber had jumped out on his own, he wouldn't have been able to close the window behind him. He had an accomplice, and most likely, it was the victim who wanted a payout from the insurance company. Jake and his friend Jonathan likes challenging each other. One would suggest something they could do, and the other would prove it wrong somehow. One day, Jake surprised Jonathan by stating, "I can answer any question in the world." Jonathan was sure that he could win the challenge, so he accepted the task of proving it wrong. He wrote up a test full of super hard questions. After a while, Jake returned the test. Jonathan lost the challenge. He had to admit that Jake could indeed answer any question. How did Jake win? He indeed answered all the questions by writing, "I don't know." Two workmen were repairing a roof. Suddenly, they both fell down the chimney and found themselves in a large fireplace. One man's face was smeared with soot, but the face of the other was clean. The second man washed his face, but the worker whose face was dirty didn't, and just went back to work. Why? When the two men looked at each other, the one with the clean face thought his face was dirty as well. The other man, though, looked at his companion and thought that his face was clean.
Eric was deeply in love with Carrie, and he finally decided to ask her out. He wanted to make it romantic, so instead of texting her, he decided to write his invitation with chalk on the sidewalk right outside her window. It read, "Carrie, I'll be waiting for you in the restaurant Star tomorrow at 7 p.m. sharp." Carrie was also in love with Eric, and she would have come there with pleasure. Still, she never showed up. Why? Thing is, the rain started, and the invitation was washed away. Carrie simply didn't see it. I hope they work things out. Allison got lost in a forest and stumbled upon an old house. When she entered it, she saw a witch. She wasn't evil, though, so she said she could help Allison find a way home if she cracked a riddle. The witch asked Allison, "What kind of room can you neither enter nor leave?" Allison was smart, so she gave the right answer. "Can you crack it too?" I told you the witch wasn't evil. She even gave a small hint. Do you see a mushroom in her hand? Right, the answer is mushroom. A detective got an anonymous email about an upcoming heist in one of New York's museums. To stop it from happening, he needs to know the month the heist is planned for. Later, the police managed to find a clue. It was a note with a secret code. The police couldn't crack it, so they brought it to the detective. What month is the heist planned for? The detective cracked the code almost immediately. A jar in the picture stands for J, a ukulele stands for U, a nugget stands for N, and an eggplant stands for E. Ah, June. There are 70 floors in the apartment building. The higher the floor, the more people live there. Which floor does the elevator go to most often? It's the first floor. The residents of all floors go down to the first floor. A luxurious spa center got an anonymous call. Someone called to report a lady that's planning to steal expensive jewelry from the spa center visitors. The staff went to look for that lady to escort her out. Can you find her? Look, there's a lady having a pedicure. She doesn't look suspicious, but she's the only one who's not wearing a special bracelet. Security! The other day, Kelly was rummaging around her auntie's attic when she accidentally stumbled upon 5 short chains, each made of 4 silver links. She thought it could be great if she combined them all into one big chain of 20 links. When she went back to town, she brought those tiny chains to a jeweler. He told her it would cost $5 for each silver link that he would have to break and then reseal. How much will the chain cost? Kelly could do that for $25 if she told the jeweler to break a link in each chain. But she was really smart, so she asked the jeweler to break all 4 links in one chain and use them to attach the other chains, which cost her $20. A wise king decided to find someone who could replace him. He wanted to make a challenge, and the one who nailed it would become the new king. Anyone who wanted to take the throne needed to put a whole cucumber into a glass bottle without cutting the cucumber or damaging the bottle. The participants had a week to do it. This challenge seemed to be impossible, so only 5 people decided to take part, and there was only one winner. How did he put the cucumber in the bottle? He placed a baby cucumber, still on its stem, into the bottle. Cucumbers grow rather fast, so he had enough time to win that competition. And now he's king. They set the bar kinda low, didn't they? Joanna and Josh were on their honeymoon in Italy. On the first day, they went on a city tour around Venice and left all their stuff in the hotel room. When they came back, someone was standing outside their door trying to get in. The couple called the receptionist right away, but the man claimed Joanna and Josh owed him some money for the tours they'd taken in the past 4 days. The reception knew the man was lying right away. How did he figure it out? It was the couple's first day in the hotel. There's a barrel of water in the yard. You look inside and say that it's more than half full, but your friend argues that it's less than half full. How can you figure out who's right without using any measuring tools or removing water from the barrel? Tilt the barrel so that the water touches its rim. If you can see the bottom, the barrel's less than half full. If the bottom is still covered with water, it's more. 2 couples are about to get married. The hall is full of guests. The brides look stunning in these long white gowns, and the grooms seem to be completely happy. All of a sudden, one of the guests notices there's something wrong with one of the couples. Can you guess what? Look at this couple. These folks have no reflection at all. They must be vampires. In one of the galaxies, there's Planet Pink. There are many people, but few animals. Only hens and roosters live there. They can be of 3 different colors: pink, red, and yellow. Andrew went to that planet to see his friends for the weekend, and while he was walking down the street, he saw 3 bird couples in love. No bird can be with a partner of the same color. Can you guess the color of the partner of the red hen? It's the yellow rooster. The red hen can't go out with the red one, and the pink rooster, as you see, is madly in love with the yellow hen. Emily's aunt has bought a bottle of perfume for her niece's birthday. Sadly, she couldn't keep it, because Helga, her sister, is terribly allergic to perfumes. Emily brought it back to her aunt, who bought it for $65. The old lady sold it to someone for $80. Then she suddenly remembered she had one more niece, so she got it back for $70. Sally, the forgotten niece, turned out to be allergic too, so the auntie had to sell it again for $60. Did she make any profit? Yep, she made $5 and grabbed a Frappuccino for the same amount. You're trapped in a room that's slowly getting filled with water coming from a faucet in the wall. There are no windows in the room, and the door is sealed shut. You have a mop and a big bucket. So, how are you going to get yourself out of this one? This one was simple. You just need to turn the faucet off. Sally works as a barista. She's the one who served Emily's aunt with that frappuccino. This morning, she dropped a cup full of coffee. Luckily, her white shirt wasn't stained, but it took her a while to clean up the mess. How come? There were coffee beans in the cup. They ended up right under the counter. After the bank had been robbed, the police found the money in the park among cacti. The police officers arrested all the suspects, and they almost immediately figured out who the bank robber was. Can you do the same in 10 seconds? This guy on the left has scratches left by cacti all over his body. Dennis was at home watching TV. All of a sudden, his wife's super expensive vase fell and broke in their bedroom. He ran into the room in time to see a stranger jump out the window and run away. Dennis tried to chase him, but his glasses fogged up because of the cold. That's why he couldn't identify who it was. When the police arrived, they listened to his story and immediately knew he was lying. Dennis made this story up not to tell his wife that he had broken the vase. How did they know this? Anyone who wears glasses knows that they don't fog up when you go from a warm room to the cold outdoors. It's the other way around.
I feel your brain needs some nice tricky workout. I've got just the thing. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It was raining heavily in the evening. Lauren told her young daughters to go to bed. Sometime later, she went to check on them. As soon as she opened the door to their room, she realized that one of them had sneaked out and returned without her permission. Look at the room and try to figure out which girl it was. It was the girl on the left. Look, both pairs of sneakers are in their place, but the ones on the left are covered with dirt. Alexa has been running at the stadium every day for several months, preparing for upcoming athletic competitions. And they start today. Alexa is warming up when she notices a skinny guy among other runners. His legs look thin and seem to be weak. Alexa feels skeptical about his running abilities. Anyway, they get into the starting position. 3, 2, 1, go! Alexa is running as fast as she can. Suddenly, she notices that the guy she paid attention to earlier is running much faster than her, and he doesn't even look tired. Eventually, he wins. But how did he do it? He's not a real athlete. In fact, he isn't even a human. He doesn't sweat, he doesn't blink, and he has 2 left hands. Yikes. A guy bought a fishing pole that was 6 feet 3 inches long. When he wanted to get on the bus with this fishing pole, the driver stopped him. The man told the guy that he couldn't take anything longer than 6 feet onto the bus. The guy went back into town and bought one more thing, and the driver allowed him on the bus. What did the guy buy, and what did he do with it? The guy bought a 6-foot long box. He put the fishing pole in it diagonally, and the entire package turned out to be only 6 feet long. Julia was angry with her boyfriend. She sent a message to her best friend who lived abroad. In this message, the girl complained about the mistakes the guy had made. But her friend sent her a very strange reply. Give, get, give, get, give, get, give, get. What did Julia's friend mean? She wanted to say that Julia should forgive and forget. Gemma was a mermaid living in the Pacific Ocean. One day she was swimming near the surface when she spotted two handsome guys. Both of them seemed to be in trouble. Look at them attentively and try to figure out who Gemma should save first. This wooden boat is indeed filled with water, but it's still okay, and the guy inside can scoop this water out. But this guy's inflatable boat is damaged. He will soon find himself in the water, and this shark will be all too happy to snack on him. He needs Gemma's help urgently. One hotel guest discovered her diamond necklace and earrings were missing after a party in the lobby. Someone must have stolen her jewelry. The hotel management invited a detective. After questioning all guests and staff members, the detective had 3 suspects: Walter, another hotel guest, Alice, a maid, and Alan, a porter. The detective decided to check their rooms. What he saw was enough for him to understand who the thief was. Can you figure it out too? It's Alice. There's an already packed suitcase in her room. She's about to run away with the stolen jewelry. Galaxy Detective Varamcha was on a case. A spaceship was lost. Her partner, Galaxy Junior Detective Brightbulb, gave her a piece of paper. It was the location of the spaceship. This is what the slip had scribbled on it: juice, umbrella, potato, ice, tomato, elephant, rice. Where do you think the spaceship is? Right, it's on Jupiter. You just need to pay attention to the first letters of these words. Look at these girls. It seems to be a tough competition. But guess what? One of these girls is cheating. Can you figure out who it is? It's the girl on the left. Strangely, she doesn't look tired. Ah, do you see that USB port in her neck? She's a robot. Someone stole the money Adam kept in his safe. After watching the security footage, the police figured out that it had happened at midnight. They questioned 3 suspects. Julia said she'd gone to bed at 10 p.m. and fallen asleep right away. Parker told the detective he'd been watching TV from 11:45 p.m. to 1 a.m. And Aiden said he'd been with his friends, playing computer games all night. The police arrested the thief. Who was it? It was Parker. He was suspiciously specific about the time. Elijah went on a cruise. On the 3rd day, he noticed that one of the staff members was an imposter. Look at them attentively and try to guess who it is. This waitress is actually hiding a police badge under her floral garland. She must be undercover. Samantha needed to check something online, but her phone's battery was flat. She grabbed her brother's device, but it was password protected. Suddenly, a hint appeared on the screen. While I am in the air, I am not in oxygen. I am also in water, but not in hydrogen. I am necessary for all animals, but you won't find me in a zoo. Look in all brains, and you'll find me there too. Can you figure out the password? It's the letter A. Dora went to study for her exam in a coffee shop. She ordered some tea with milk, opened her laptop, and started working. At one point, she went to the bathroom. When she returned, her laptop wouldn't switch on and her cup was empty. Someone had spilled the tea on her computer, causing it to crash. Dora called the manager and told him what had happened. They came up with 3 suspects. The barista said he had been extremely busy and hadn't seen anything. The supervisor said he was sorry the milk tea had spilled on the computer. He also promised to check if the insurance would cover the cost. The second barista was also sorry about her milk tea damaging the computer. He offered Dora to make her another cup while they were waiting for the police to arrive. The manager immediately understood who had ruined Dora's laptop. Have you figured it out? It was the supervisor. He couldn't have known the tea had milk in it. As for the second barista, he knew about the milk because he was the one to prepare Dora's order. Caroline went for a walk in the park, deep in her thoughts. The girl wasn't really looking where she was going. That's why she didn't notice a deep pit in the ground and fell into it. When she came round, she found herself in a strange room. There were no windows, no door. The girl saw a table with 3 apples on it. And was it a note? To get out of this trap, you've got to eat an apple, but only one of them isn't poisoned. Pick carefully. Caroline was terrified. But after examining the apples, she bravely bit into one of them. And nothing bad happened. Which apple did she choose? The girl chose the apple with a worm peeking out of it. If it could eat the fruit, a human probably could too. Detective Adam Bonders worked undercover at a luxurious resort. The police suspected that the hotel owners were involved in some shady deals. Adam's main task was to sneak into the manager's office and check the documents. But the door was locked, and there was a combination lock. Adam had to figure out the password. The detective knew he needed to solve a math riddle, and the answer would be the code. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 1 plus 1 times 0 plus 1 equals. As soon as he punched in the code, the door opened. What was the correct number? It's 30. There are no mathematical symbols at the end of the first and second lines. It means the whole thing looks like this. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 11 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 11 plus 1 times 0 plus 1 equals 30.